The blind dog knew someone was laughing. He could not see the two nurses standing outside room 14, or the phone. One of them held low against her hip, camera running. He could not see the orderly pretending to search a cabinet. While waiting for the moment, the rookie screamed. But he heard the breath they tried to hide. He smelled amusement beneath antiseptic and coffee. And when Nurse Maya Ellison stepped through the doorway alone, the German shepherd turned toward her, with his teeth already showing. He was enormous, close to 90 pounds, dark sable fur streaked with gray along the muzzle. Both eyes were clouded pale blue. A black military harness wrapped his chest, its edges worn smooth from years of use. One leash had been looped around the bed rail. The other end lay torn on the floor. On the bed beside him, Staff Sergeant Luke Barrett was unconscious. Maya stopped just inside the room. The dog stood between her and the patient, shoulders rigid, ears forward, head moving slightly as he mapped the room by sound. A low growl rolled from his chest. Behind the glass, senior nurse Carla Wynne whispered, $10 says she runs. The orderly beside her covered a laugh. Maya heard them. She also heard something else. 3 quick taps of the dog's right front paw against the floor. A pause. 3 more. Not random, not aggression. A signal. Maya lowered the medication tray onto a chair without letting the metal touch the wall. She removed her badge reel so it would not click. Then she turned her body sideways and spoke toward the dog's left ear. My name is Maya. I'm 4 steps from you. The growl changed, not quieter, more focused. I'm going to move 1 step closer. She did. The dog's head tracked the sound exactly. Outside the room, Carla's smile faded. Maya stopped again. The patient's monitor showed a steady pulse. Blood pressure acceptable. Oxygen normal. The chart clipped to the foot of the bed said dehydration, collapse during a veteran's ceremony, observation overnight. Everything looked controlled. The dog disagreed. He tapped 3 times again. Maya crouched. I hear you. The dog's lips lowered slightly over his teeth. She placed one hand flat against the floor. You can find me. He leaned forward, nose working. His blindness made his movements careful, not weak. He followed the scent of her hand through the cold air, then stopped with his muzzle inches from her fingers. Maya did not reach for him. She waited. He inhaled once, twice. Then he touched the back of her hand with his nose. A long breath left him. The growl stopped. Carla opened the door halfway. Don't get confident. He bid a paramedic. The dog's head snapped toward her voice. Maya saw the muscles gather along his back. Close the door, she said. Carla blinked. Excuse me? You're behind him, and he can't place you. Close the door. Carla's face tightened, but the orderly pulled it shut. Maya looked at the harness. A rectangular patch had been removed from one side. Fresh threads remained where someone had cut it away. What is your name? She asked softly. The dog's left ear shifted. A metal identification plate hung beneath his chest. Maya could not reach it without passing his shoulder, so she read the patient's intake sheet instead. Military working dog. Rook. Retired. Acquired blindness after blast exposure. Primary handler. Staff Sergeant Luke Barrett. Behavioral warning. Protective, disoriented in unfamiliar environments. The next line had been crossed out with black marker. Maya tilted the paper toward the light. Under the ink, she could make out the impression of 3 words. Medical alert trained. Her stomach tightened. She looked at Luke Barrett, 34, broad-shouldered even beneath a hospital gown, a scar running from his right temple into his hairline. His hands were still, palms open. Too still for someone who had merely fainted. Rook tapped the floor again. 3 times Maya stood. The dog moved with her, keeping himself between her and Luke. but the warning was gone from his posture. "You're not guarding him from me," she said. "You're trying to get me to him." Rook turned his head toward the bed. Maya reached for the call button. Carla entered before she could press it. "All right, Rookie. Show's over. Give the dog a sedative and hang the fluids." Maya looked at her. Who removed the patch from his harness? Carla glanced down too quickly. "What patch?" "The one that identified what kind of medical alert he performs." Carla shrugged. "Probably fell off in transport. The threads were cut." The orderly behind her stopped smiling. Carla folded her arms. "You have been here 19 days. I have worked this unit for 14 years. The patient was evaluated in emergency. His labs are fine. He fainted because he skipped breakfast and stood in the heat. The dog is anxious because he is blind. Do what you were assigned." Maya looked at Luke again. There was a faint movement beneath his right eyelid, a tremor in 2 fingers. Small enough to miss if no one had told her where to look. Rook had. "What does he alert for?" Maya asked. Carla's voice cooled. "I don't know. You read the transfer note. So did you." The relevant line was covered. Carla leaned closer. "Do not turn your first month into a disciplinary hearing because you want to impress people." Maya met her eyes. "You brought me in here alone because you expected him to frighten me." Silence filled the room. The orderly looked down. Carla's mouth hardened. "Careful." Rook tapped 3 times. Then Luke Barrett's entire body went rigid. The change happened in less than a second. His back arched. His right arm drew tight across his chest. The monitor alarm began to sound. Rook barked once, sharp enough to make Carla stumble backward. Maya was already at the bed. "Seizure," she said. "Time it. Protect his head. Do not restrain his limbs." The orderly froze. Maya pointed. "Call rapid response now." He moved. Carla reached for Rook's leash. "Don't," Maya said. The dog positioned himself against the side of the bed, nose near Luke's hand, body trembling but controlled. He was trained for this. Luke's oxygen level dropped. Maya turned him safely, cleared the space around him, and prepared suction. She spoke each action aloud, not only for the staff but for Rook. "I'm beside Luke's head. I'm helping him breathe. You can stay." The dog pressed his shoulder against her leg. The seizure lasted 78 seconds. When it ended, Luke did not wake. His left pupil was larger than his right. Maya felt cold move through her. "That wasn't on admission," Carla said. "You checked?" Carla did not answer. The rapid response team arrived with Dr. Adrian Shaw, the hospitalist covering the rehabilitation wing. He was young enough to move fast and experienced enough not to waste words. Maya gave him the sequence. Blind military K9 repeatedly alerting. He medical alert notation. Focal seizure, unequal pupils, recent collapse. Dr. Shaw examined Luke and ordered an immediate head scan. Carla stepped into the corridor with him. "Emergency cleared him 4 hours ago." "Then something changed," he said. "He has a history of post-traumatic seizures, which means we scan faster, not slower." As they prepared to move the bed, Rook planted his feet. The gurney wheels rolled 6 inches. The dog pulled back, disoriented by the sudden movement and the echoing corridor beyond the room. Carla reached for the sedative again. Maya took the leash. "No medication unless we need it. He cannot go to imaging." "He can if someone gives him a map." Carla laughed once. "He's blind, Maya." Maya looked at her. "So was my brother." The words changed the air. She had not spoken about Evan at work. Not during orientation. Not when coworkers asked why she always announced herself before entering dark rooms, or why she kept furniture aligned with the walls. Evan had lost his sight at 17 after a car crossed the center line. He had spent the first year angry at every doorway, Every hand that grabbed him without warning, every voice that said over here, as though direction were a kindness. Maya learned to replace vague comfort with information. 3 steps forward. Door on your right. Chair touching the back of your knees. Her brother taught her that fear grew in the space where detail should have been. He also taught her never to pull a blind person or animal through a world they could not predict. Maya stood beside Rook's left shoulder. Rook, we are leaving the room. Straight for 6 steps, then left. His ear turned toward her. She tapped 2 fingers against the metal rail before the bed began moving. Luke is with us. The gurney rolled. Rook followed. 6 steps. Maya said, left. He turned before the leash tightened. The corridor opened around them. Staff moved against the walls to watch. Some had heard about the prank. Most had heard about the seizure. Carla walked behind the group with her jaw set. At the imaging doors, security blocked the dog. No animals beyond this point. Dr. Shaw held up the military authorization. He stays until we need the scanner clear. Rook refused to release the bedside. Maya knelt and put Luke's hand near the dog's nose. Rook, he is going through the next door. He will come back through the same door. The dog inhaled against Luke's fingers. Maya touched his harness. Wait point. She did not know whether it was the correct command. Rook did. He sat. The scanner doors closed. For the first time since Maya entered room 14, the dog made a sound of distress. Not a bark. A low, broken whine. She sat on the floor beside him. Carla stood across the corridor. You got lucky, she said. Maya looked up. With what? The seizure. The timing. Rook alerted before it happened. Dogs paw floors. Patients with brain injuries seize. You cut the patch off his harness. Carla's face did not move. The orderly, Jason Bell, stood near the wall. His cheeks had gone pale. Maya looked at him. Did you record us? Jason swallowed. Carla said, do not answer that. The scanner door opened before he could. Dr. Shaw came out quickly. Acute subdural bleed. Neurosurgery is accepting him downtown. We need air transport. Rook stood at the doctor's first step. Maya's chest tightened. The emergency team had cleared Luke because his initial scan showed an old injury and no major change. But the bleed had expanded slowly, hidden beneath scar tissue from an earlier blast. Another hour might have ended differently. Dr. Shaw looked at Rook. The dog knew. Yes, Maya said. Carla's voice sharpened. We do not know that. Rook turned his blind eyes toward her. The helicopter could not take him. Military transport arranged a veterinary escort to meet Luke at the receiving hospital, but weather delayed the vehicle by 40 minutes. Until then, Rook remained on the rehabilitation floor. He would not return to room 14. The scent of Luke had moved, and every corridor now told the dog that the one person anchoring his world had vanished. He paced 6 steps in one direction, 6 back. His nails clicked faster each time. When staff approached, he showed his teeth. When they retreated, he resumed searching. Carla ordered Maya to lock him in an equipment room. Maya refused. He will injure himself. He is disrupting the unit. He is panicking. He is an animal. Maya stared at her. So you thought his fear would be funny? Carla's face flushed. You have no idea what happened. I know you assigned the newest nurse to a blind, distressed military dog without telling her he was trained to alert seizures. I was teaching you not to act helpless. You were filming. Jason spoke from behind them. She told me to. Carla turned. He held his phone in one hand. I thought she would drop the tray and run, he said. That was it. We were going to show it in the break room. I didn't know the patch mattered. Maya felt anger arrive cleanly, not loud, not hot, precise. Where is it? Jason reached into his scrub pocket. The missing patch lay folded in his palm. Seizure alerts. Under the words was a smaller line. TPE. Signal, Maya took it. Rook stopped pacing when the fabric came near him. He smelled Luke on it. The dog lowered his head and pressed his nose to Maya's hand. Jason looked sick. I'm sorry. Maya fastened the patch back onto the harness using temporary tape. Be sorry where it changes what you do next. Hospital administration arrived 10 minutes later. They separated Carla and Jason, collected the phone, and opened an immediate safety review. Carla insisted the setup had been harmless. She said no one intended to delay care. She said Maya was exaggerating because she wanted attention. Then security played the corridor audio. $10 says, she runs. The words sounded smaller on playback than they had in the moment. Crueler, too. Carla was removed from duty before sunrise. Jason remained because Maya asked administration to let him help transfer Rook. He participated. The administrator said, yes, then why trust him? I don't. But he needs to understand what he treated as entertainment. Jason heard her. He did not argue. When the military veterinary transport arrived, Rook refused the ramp. The vehicle engine vibrated through the pavement. Rain struck the metal roof. Luke's scent was faint inside, buried beneath disinfectant and unfamiliar handlers. Rook backed away. Maya stood beside him under the ambulance awning. Straight for 4 steps, she said. The dog's ears turned. 1 step up. He moved. 3 steps forward. Rook entered the transport. Jason climbed in first and placed Luke's blanket on the floor. The dog found it and lay down with his muzzle buried in the fabric. Before the doors closed, he lifted his head toward Maya. His clouded eyes could not find her. His nose did. Maya placed her hand against his cheek. Luke is ahead of you, she said. Follow the map. Rook leaned into her palm, then the doors closed. Luke Barrett underwent emergency surgery 47 minutes after landing at the Regional Trauma Center. The neurosurgeon evacuated the bleed before permanent damage occurred. He remained unconscious for 2 days. Rook stayed in the military veterinary ward across the campus, refusing most food and sleeping with Luke's blanket beneath his head. On the 3rd morning, Luke woke and asked for his dog before he asked what had happened. A veterinary officer led Rook into the room. The dog heard Luke breathe differently from 20 feet away. He crossed the floor too fast, struck the side of the bed with his shoulder, recovered, and placed his head beneath Luke's hand. Luke began to cry. You found somebody, he whispered. Rook's tail hit the floor. You found somebody who listened. The investigation lasted 6 weeks. Carla had arranged similar pranks before. New employees were sent into difficult rooms without context, then mocked for their reactions. Most incidents ended in embarrassment. One had caused a nursing assistant to resign. No one had reported them because Carla controlled schedules, evaluations, and weekend assignments. This time, the hidden seizure-alert patch turned humiliation into a patient safety violation. Carla's employment was terminated. The state nursing board opened a conduct review. Jason received a final warning, mandatory ethics training, and 6 months away from patient-facing duties. He accepted every condition. He also wrote Maya an apology she did not answer. For several nights after Rook left, Maya woke hearing 3 taps against her apartment floor. There was never anything there. She would sit in the dark and remember Evan learning the hallway in their childhood home after the accident. At first, he counted every step aloud. 11 from his room to the bathroom, 17 to the kitchen, 4 from the table to the back door. Months later, he stopped counting because the house had entered his body. He knew it by air movement, floorboards, the refrigerator hum, and the way sunlight warmed one side of his face. Maya had once asked whether he missed seeing it. Sometimes, he said. Mostly I miss people believing I still know where I am. That sentence returned whenever staff described Rook as confused, dangerous, or helpless. Blindness had changed the dog's map, not erased his intelligence. He had known Luke was in danger before anyone trusted him. He had known Carla's laughter was unsafe. He had known Maya's voice offered details instead of pity. By the fourth night, the imaginary tapping no longer frightened her. She let it remind her that listening was not passive. It was work. It required patience, humility, and the courage to accept that the person without words might still understand more than everyone speaking. Instead, she watched what he did. He stopped laughing when frightened patients struggled. He announced himself before touching anyone who could not see him. He became careful with doors. That mattered more. Maya remained the rookie. For a while, that surprised people. They expected the story to make her fearless, famous, or suddenly senior. It did none of those things. She still checked medication calculations twice. She still got lost in the west stairwell. She still went home after night shifts and replayed every decision until sleep became impossible. But the staff began to notice something about her. She did not confuse uncertainty with incompetence. She asked questions without apologizing for them. And when someone vulnerable became difficult, Maya moved closer instead of labeling the difficulty as the problem. 9 weeks after the seizure, Luke Barrett returned to Fort Ashford Veterans Medical Center walking with a cane. Rook came beside him in a new harness. The dog's blindness had not changed. His confidence had. A small speaker on the harness gave directional tones in unfamiliar spaces. Luke used verbal maps the way Maya had. Straight for 6. Door left. Step down. The rehabilitation staff gathered near the entrance. Maya stood behind the desk, signing a medication sheet. Rook stopped before anyone spoke. His head lifted. He turned toward the sound of Maya's pen clicking shut. Then he pulled Luke across the lobby. People stepped aside. Maya came around the desk and crouched. 3 steps from you. She said. Rook did not wait for the rest. He crossed the distance and pressed his forehead against her chest. The force pushed her backward against the desk. She wrapped both arms around him. His tail struck the cabinet again and again. Luke stopped a few feet away. He remembers your voice. Maya buried her face briefly in the fur behind Rook's torn ear. He remembers information. Luke smiled. He remembers who made the world make sense. The lobby blurred. Maya had not cried the night of the seizure. She had not cried during the investigation or when administration asked whether she wanted to transfer units. She cried now, quietly at first. Then, without trying to hide it, Rook remained still until she finished. Luke handed her a narrow leather strap with a brass plate attached. It had once been part of Rook's first military harness. The plate carried 4 engraved words, TREEPW, one voice. On the reverse was another line, she listened before she knew. Maya ran her thumb over the letters. My brother would have liked him, she said. Luke's expression softened. Your brother blind? Yes. Still around? Maya looked down. Not anymore. Yvonne had died 2 years earlier from an infection that moved faster than anyone expected. In the final week, when weakness made speech difficult, Maya had narrated every room for him, exactly as she had when they were teenagers. Window open 2 feet. Rain outside. Your hand is near mine. After he died, she stopped volunteering with guide dogs. She told herself nursing school demanded the time. The deeper truth was that every harness sounded like loss. Rook placed 1 paw over her shoe. 3 light taps. Maya laughed through her tears. Luke heard it. He does that when he wants you to stay. Is that official military interpretation? No. That's me knowing my dog. Fort Ashford changed its procedures after the investigation. Dervis animals and military working dogs received visible care alerts that could not be removed without authorization. Staff were trained to recognize behavioral medical signals. No employee could assign an animal-assisted case as punishment or entertainment. Maya helped write the training. She insisted on one sentence appearing at the top of every page. Behavior is information before it is inconvenience. She did not put her name beneath it. 6 months later, she was working an afternoon shift when a hospital volunteer found her near the courtyard doors. "There's someone outside asking for you." Luke sat on a bench beneath a maple tree. Rook lay at his feet without a harness. The day was bright and cool. Sunlight moved through the leaves and warmed the stone path. Maya had never seen the dog outside a hospital or transport vehicle. He looked younger in the daylight. Luke stood when she approached. "Rook retires officially today," he said. "I thought he was already retired. From military work, not from taking care of me." Rook's ears turned toward Maya's steps. Luke held out the leash. "Want to walk him?" Maya hesitated. Evan's old guide dog leash still hung in a closet at home. She had not touched it since the funeral. Rook stood. He moved toward her until his nose found the back of her hand. Maya closed her fingers around the leash. "Straight for 12 steps," she said. They walked beside the hospital garden. Luke stayed on Rook's right. Maya remained on his left. The dog moved between them, steady and certain, following their voices rather than the path he could not see. At the end of the garden, a low wooden bridge crossed a narrow stream. Rook stopped at the change in texture beneath his paws. Maya tapped the rail once. Bridge, 8 steps, water below. The dog moved forward, halfway across. Luke said, "He was blinded saving me." Maya did not answer immediately. "I know what the report says. The report leaves out that I froze." Rook kept walking. Luke looked toward the water. Blast went off. I could not hear, could not see through the dust. He came back for me after the second command. That is when the shrapnel hit his eyes. You think he lost them because you failed. I know he did. Maya stopped at the far side of the bridge. Rook stopped with her. "My brother spent years believing blindness made him the damage left behind by someone else's mistake," she said. "He was wrong." Luke's jaw tightened. "That is not the same." "No, but Rook does not wake up every morning thinking about the eyes he lost. He wakes up looking for your voice." Luke stared ahead. Rook leaned against his leg. Maya loosened the leash. "Maybe loyalty is not a debt," she said. "Maybe it is just the way he knows where home is." They stood there for a long moment. Then Luke placed one hand on Rook's head. The dog leaned into both of them. When they returned to the hospital doors, Luke took the leash, but Rook did not move. He tapped Maya's shoe 3 times. She crouched. "I'm going back inside." Rook touched his nose to her palm. "Door behind me. Luke on your right. Car straight ahead." The dog waited. Maya smiled. "You have the map." Rook turned toward Luke. They walked across the parking lot together. The blind dog moving confidently through the bright afternoon, guided by a voice he trusted, and carrying a world larger than anything sight could have shown him. Maya watched until they reached the car. Then she went back through the hospital doors. A call bell sounded from the rehabilitation wing. Someone needed help. She moved toward it, not because she was no longer afraid of getting something wrong, not because one extraordinary night had made her certain. She moved because fear, hers or anyone else's, was information. And information deserved someone willing to listen.